Hey guys, it's Morgan coming back to you with another video. We are working on the 300SX today though, not the XC. Mine is pretty much all done right over there. It's absolutely beautiful. If you guys haven't checked out the lighting video, make sure you do. It went great. The bike will run lights, all that good stuff. So today though, we are working on the 300SX of my good buddy Todd Colvin. He brought this thing over for us to do some testing videos and things like that. So make sure you stay tuned and subscribe, because we are going to be taking this out into the real world and riding it back to back against the XC, see what the real differences are. Also shot a video showing what the differences are, at least from the outside, and like the transmission differences and stuff like that. So make sure you check that out too. Sorry for the camera that we're using. Unfortunately, I broke my other camera, so that's what's happening right now with that. I will be getting a new one, but it's going to be a little bit because they're kind of expensive. So we're dealing with GoPros now, but again, I think you guys are more about the content, not about the production quality. So really, we're just going to add a few things to this. We're not doing any major changes yet, but today we are going to be installing some Seahorn Extreme slide plate stuff. That is the SXS. John Seahorn owns that company. He's an amazing guy. Everything's made here in the US. It's great stuff. So we've got some hand guards to put on, some fork protectors. We got front fork lug protector and front disc guard to protector, and then obviously a full coverage skid plate with link guard and everything like that. So here we go, let's do it. All right guys, we're going to start with the skid plate. This bike does have the frame just like the XC. It's got the holes for the bolt to go through to hold the stock skid plate. Also, it's got the holes here. You can pull that bolt out. So the Seahorn plate has it's got this back hook to go here, but it also has these holes here to bolt up onto there. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to use them all, and I think these spacers are for that, and then I have some bolts that came with it. All right guys, so John's instructions are very good. He says start by taking all the hardware off of this. So we're going to undo all the bolts, get this thing, and we're going to hold it up here and kind of see how it fits first. Then we're going to just slowly but surely get everything on. And like anything with multiple bolts and mounting things, you want to just start and get them all on there loose before you tighten anything down, because if you tighten one thing down, the other things inevitably will not tighten up. So let's go get our stuff here. We need an Allen and a 10. So let's hold this thing up here and see kind of how it's all gonna look. I think it looks good. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with this. I'm gonna take this billet guy, I'm gonna come in here. One thing you gotta pay attention to on this bike is right here, that's the wire for the starter. You got to make sure you don't go over that, because you don't want to pinch that thing and mess up your starter. All right guys, one thing that I like that John does is his link guard. He sends an extra piece of this urethane I'm not sure exactly what this is made out of, honestly, but whatever. This stuff, which is cool because it helps provide even more cushion for the link. One thing it also does though is make it stick down further because the linkage, anyway. So that's why you do everything super loose to start, and then you tighten everything down, because if you don't, it'll hold it all weird. And anyway. Right on, guys. That turned out well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tighten these bolts up and these bolts up, and then see if these bolts line up well enough with that to bother with the bushings, but you don't really need to do it. I don't know. We'll see. If they line up well, then we'll do it. If not, no big deal. All right, guys, so one thing I forgot to mention is that John wants you to put blue Loctite on all the bolts. I honestly did that on the back ones, but I forgot to do it on the front. Anyway, so I'm gonna do that, but he wants to do that because, and it makes sense, because since it's not a hard aluminum thing, and you don't want to flex it too much by pulling it into this thing, I can see why you just want to, you don't want to have to reef down on it to get it, to keep it tight. So you definitely want to make sure you get blue Loctite on all the bolts. Now let's see. I think this might work out. All right, guys. So there are the bushings. Let's see if we can line this up. Since, you know, with nice long bolts. Let's see if we can make it work. We'll make it work. There we go. Nice. Cool. That's gonna work fine. I'm gonna go get some Loctite for this one too. I think that looks pretty sweet. Like I said, I got to go back and put some blue Loctite on these guys, but that's pretty awesome. Nice full coverage back over the link. Super strong. It's like most plastic things, though. The wings are obviously not going to be as strong as like an aluminum one, but it's going to slide off of rocks and not hang up like aluminum does. So that's pretty rad. Now we're going to move on to the front forks and discard. Next on the lift are the protecting the front discard and front fork lug. This is John's lug protector, made out of the same you know, urethane kind of stuff. Looks like it's just gonna bolt right up really easily. So he does not have a hole, but he's got the pilot hole, so I'm gonna drill that sucker out. Just got a step bit, and I'm just gonna go into his hole. And I had to drill mine out more on my Bulletproof Design one because it was not big enough for me to get my hands in there on the manual adjuster. There we go. Now it's ready. So it's a tight fit on there, guys. But that's good. That's what you want. You don't want it wiggling around. All right. Gonna leave that now. Now we're gonna do the front discard. It looks like this is from Aries and SXS. Looks like they work together. I don't think John does any of the metal stuff, so. But he provides the disc, you know, the blade, which is cool because it comes up underneath here, also making the underneath side of the fork, you know, slide better. And then obviously the blade, and then Aries does the aluminum part. So let's take a look at how this thing fits. Looks like it's gonna look really good. Gotta take this bolt out. Blue Loctite on that bolt. leave that loose so that this can move around as we slide everything back together. Line that up. We're going to tighten this down like you would if you're going to do any, front axle thing. Make sure you get your wheel aligned. Now we're going to tighten down the pinch bolts. The next thing we're going to do are the Seahorn handguards. So, be right back. All right, so now we've got the handguards. These things are burly. The plastic is super burly, and then the mount is, it's gnarly. Super heavy duty billet stuff. So we got to figure out now what we're going to do on the bars, because there's a lot going on, especially with this map switch. So, all right, I guess that's the start switch on this. My map switch is over here on this side, but I think what we're going to do is I'm going to move everything inboard, probably take this off and put it on the inside so that I can mount it right there. Because if you hold this thing up like that, that comes out, protects the lever and everything. I think that's going to be what we want. So I'm going to loosen this up so it can go in just a little bit from now. It'll slide back out. And then, unfortunately, actually, no. I'm going to take this off because this is just it has to come off the bar all the way. There's not a clamshell thing, so I'm just going to loosen it. We'll take this off, move it out of the way, loosen this, slide it over, move that back in. But anyway, you'll see. Now I just want to figure out, guys, like where we want these things. And so I don't like them up that far. So they're about level with the ground. Boom, there we go. Now we're going to set the other side up the same way. And then we have a few items from System Tech Racing to install. We've got some bleeders and a couple other things. So yeah, I'm going to finish up that side and I'll show you what this whole thing looks like with these guards on it. So let's take a look at these. Boom, there we go. Big burly hand guards. Next thing I'm going to install are these fork bleeders. Super simple. I've shown it before, so I'm not going to detailed video, but be careful with these because they are small and aluminum and you can break them really easily. Also, if you're going to use fork bleeders, just buy the ones from John Bruckbauer at System Tech Racing. They're patented. They're way better than all the other ones. They're more money, but they are hands down better. So yeah, anyway, he makes them for pretty well, yeah, every fork out there. So yeah, just gonna take those out, put them in, and then the next thing we're gonna do, we'll show you guys how we're doing that, is one of John's brake coolers for back here, because Todd and I are both brake draggers, and this helps solve that problem of overheating the brakes. All right, next is the brake cooler, brake caliper, radiator. Anyway, the thing that keeps this cool so that you don't overheat your brakes. The way John makes these and sends them is that you have to reuse the bleeder. So we're gonna crack that, get that thing loose, and we got a 12. And yes, we are gonna have to re-bleed the brakes, so don't worry about brake fluid going everywhere. Take all this off. Then you're gonna take your brake line and you're gonna shove it up. And grab our radiator. And he obviously sends it with all new washers. I mean, obviously this bike is brand new, so these washers would be fine. But so you do like that. Then what you're gonna do is you want this against this. So this out. I'm gonna slide this through. So I got that crush washer on. Then the last crush washer Take it. And I'm gonna have to set you guys down for this, but you're gonna have to hold the brake line as you tighten this, otherwise it's gonna wanna walk it out here, which then exposes it to getting hit by stuff. Reinstall our bleed screw, and then we're gonna bleed brakes just like you would normally bleed brakes. I think I mentioned this before on mine. This new frame guard comes with this thing all covered up, which is annoying, and whoever put this thing together clearly did a great job. Attention to detail here, but so hopefully I didn't lose too much and we don't drop below. Otherwise I'm gonna have to take that thing off and, you know, take care of it. But right now we got no brakes. Oh, it actually pumped up okay, but it's definitely air in there, so we're gonna have to bleed it. All right, so I got it bled, guys, but I had to bleed a little too much fluid through it to make me feel comfortable just letting it go. So I'm gonna pop this off, which is, that's why I didn't really want to do it, is it's kind of a pain. So we'll do it without taking it off, which, I mean, you still got to loosen it, but right on, guys. I think that's about all we're going to do right now. I have a shock spring to put on it, but I'm going to do that after I ride it. And then I have gearing. We're just going to change the rear sprocket out to be closer to what mine is for the test. And I think that's it. We're going to take it out bone stock. So it's full of gas. Oh, by the way, I did weigh it before I put all this stuff on there. It did already have the kickstand on there and a shifter tip, but that wouldn't matter. But the kickstand would have added a little bit of weight, and full of gas on my not very accurate weighing system, which is just 2 bathroom scales I roll it up onto and add the numbers. So not super accurate, but it gives us a basic idea. Came in basically the same as my XC was bone stock full of gas, which is why I believe that it's not exactly accurate, because the XC holds another 0.3 gallons, so that should be another at least couple pounds. But this came in at 238 wet. That one was 238 wet. So one of those is off. But really the only difference again is like kickstand, because the wheel's not going to make any difference, anything like that. And the kickstand barely makes a difference, but this one already had it. So still pretty apples to apples. It's pretty much the same bike so far. We're going to find out the power characteristics very soon. See if there's any noticeable, like, seat of the pants feel difference between this and the XC. My personal thought is I doubt there is. The XC is so racy in the green map that I can't imagine this is going to be that much different. So anyway, subscribe, stay tuned. Lots more content coming on this and the XC.